Yo, what's going on, y'all? What's going on? Welcome back. Uh, I don't know. I was laughing. I just looked back at the cat, and he was looking at a wall like it was a big juicy steak. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Audible Podcast. I'm your host, the man, the one, two, and three. Well, thank y'all for coming by. Thank y'all for stopping by. Um, this wonderful audio space. A lot of anger has just been flowing through my system like you wouldn't believe. Um, it seems as though we jump straight into sports. I want to discuss a couple things. Uh, First of all, I want to discuss is all right. Y'all know who I am. I did a whole podcast about bad drivers. Right? If you ever seen it, go to the podcast page, iTunes, etc. Um, I have a real pet peeve about bad driving, right? I don't have a thing. People that want to speed, you do you, right? It's the precautionary things I have a problem with. Putting your blinkers on, you're signaling. You know what I'm saying? Even people that speed, you put your signal on when you get in a left or right or left lane. Your signals, it lets it's like talking. It is talking. That's why they put them on a fucking car in the front and the back. It lets and on the it's on the fucking rear view mirrors too. Fuck, it's everywhere. It lets everybody know around you what you are doing. That way they can make a decision on what they want to do. If you're going forward and you're in the right lane and you got your right signal on, the person behind you know they got to slow down a little bit because you turning. The person that is on the intersecting way that is looking left watching you come that way, you have your right signal on, so they know they can make that little quicker right out onto the street in your spot because you about to turn off. So they have a little leeway to just go a little bit. The person on your left who may want to get over, let's say they want to get over at the next street where they know they can speed up a little bit, and oh shit, it looked like somebody else want to turn. It looked like they got to wait their time. Let me get over to the left. And it goes like that. Like the signaling is it's so easy. Go fucking left. You go right. You hit the little signal down, up, whatever the direction is. I can't say it off my head. I just know muscle memory. I know where I'm going and when I need to go there. Another thing that's I want to talk about sports. I'm pissed off already. Another thing is people who I wouldn't say speeders. You can put them in the speed category too. Do think they are intimidating on a road, like because you have a truck or you may have a big SUV. I'm in Texas, so everybody got a fucking F-150, F-250, F-350s, or regular truck on like gigantic suspensions. Like everyone in like 4 vehicles is a truck. It's probably more than that. That's what it feels like. It's probably the trucks is probably the other way. Every one in every 4 is a car. Like that's how many trucks it is on the road. Uh, Riding real close to people, like trying to like push them into another lane. Ding, ding, ding. Why don't you just get in the fucking lane to the left or right of them, if you can, and just go around them. Keep trying to get close to people and you're like pushing them to get over. This just gonna get you in a wreck, and it just might get your ass whooped too. Like I'm not sure why people. Well, I know why people in Texas are such terrible drivers. It's because it's so easy to get a driver's license, and um most of them, even though you gotta drive everywhere, like public transportation is useless in Houston. Public transportation is useless. I would say it's the most unreliable public transportation I could. It's not even 24 hours, right? So I'm from New Orleans. New Orleans public transportation, even though I was a kid when I stayed in New Orleans, I still knew it was 24 hours because I always remember leaving Bourbon Street at like 17, 18 at like 2, 3 in the morning, and it's the bus is still running. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. The bus is still running. That's how everybody got home from Bourbon Street. If you stayed in the city, I didn't drink. Of course, I was young. I didn't even drink that much when I get older. But if you stayed in the city, you knew where I was going. You took one bus because you knew that bus was coming 24 hours. That's what New Orleans is. New Orleans got like what? I guess 300,000 people. This place got 6 million people. And buses don't run 24/7. I learned that the extremely hard way, right? So I don't know if I told y'all this story, right? So when we first got here, I could have said this story on. I don't like repeat myself, but I will. Fuck it. Um, when we first got here to Houston, right after Katrina, we had everybody, of course, is in the Astrodome, right? So we went. My cousin, I had two cousins, was here with me, and one of them, we found one of the cousins. We found his brother, right? So it's four of us, and we don't know where to go. We just got here. Nobody got no whip, but we know we could probably just catch the bus down there, right? Because it's the bus, right? It's Houston, so we think, hey, it's probably 1,000 buses. It's 1,000 buses. It's 1,000. It's a buses going everywhere. You gotta go everywhere. The place is so big, but you know, running once every hour with 6 million people don't make sense. When they're running less time in smaller places. But anyway, um, so we take the Westheimer bus, and now I remember where I was, where I was, but I wasn't familiar with the area. We had just got here. We was, if you in Houston, we was off of the bus dropped us off of Montrose and not Montrose, Kirby and Westheimer. We're off of the corner of Kirby and Westheimer. And nobody's been, if you haven't been in Houston, Kirby and Westheimer is a real ritzy area. I'm talking like the little apartments, condos, like 3 Gs, 3 Gs for one bedroom. You know, these shitty 600 foot one bedroom for 2,400, 2,800, just because of quote unquote location, even though you can go 2 blocks down and pay half that price. But people like paying for what they pay for. So we sitting there, and we're probably sitting there for 3 hours. Bus never came, right? So it's pitch black now. So it's probably like 11:30, and where we stayed at, again, it's a Houston thing. So if you're in Houston, you'll understand this. Where we stayed at, we stayed off of Westheimer and Hillcroft, right? So Westheimer and Kirby, Westheimer and Hillcroft. It's a hike, right? It's a hike. Walking, like, it took us a long fucking time to walk, right? But it was all good because it is what it is anyway, right? If it was 11:30, we'd have probably got home at like 2, 3 in the morning. We fast walkers, but it'd have been like 2, 3 in the morning, right? Which was cool. It don't matter. Yeah. To this place, I don't think about it as much because I'm not younger, so I think I'm a little bit more realistic in how I think. Um, I still kind of think that way, but in New Orleans at night didn't bother me. So this may seem like ignorant, but no other place is gonna bother me at night. I remember talking. I remember being in Italy, not Italy, somewhere else, and talking to my mama, and it was like 3 in the morning, but whatever the time difference was, it was fine. It was fine here. She's like, "Where you at?" I was like, "I'm walking around." She's like, "Oh, be careful." I'm like, "Oh, fucking." I guess I think I could have been in Italy. Like, I'm in fucking Italy. Like, it smell like roses outside. Why am I worried? We walked around a project 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Whatever project, whichever project, Magnolia, Iberville, wherever. Why would I be worried about things? So that's my mindset. That's usually my mindset anywhere, anytime, any place. That's the kind of mental space you got to put yourself in when you're in stressful places, or you're around stupid people, or anything like that. That's the kind of mindset I have. So us walking from over there didn't bother me at all as far as safety. It didn't matter. Police maybe asking us where the fuck we going 3 in the morning. Um, so we sitting there, and a random dude in a truck drive by. Right, it's like a just a random white dude. I think he was like a younger white dude. He probably in his late 20s. Um, to be honest, I don't remember his face. I don't remember his name. Nothing. He just drove past, and like I said, it was dark. It was pitch black outside, and he's like, "Yo, what the fuck are y'all doing out here?" And we like, what the fuck is like this white boy talking us crazy as a motherfucker? He's like, dog. Well, I'm like, we waiting on the fucking bus. What you think? That's why we at the bus stop. He's like, hey man, I wasn't trying to go in like that, but y'all shouldn't be around here at 11:30 at night. Just y'all. He's like, where y'all going? I'm like, dog, we've been waiting for the bus 3 hours. We trying to get to the Astrodome. And look for our people. Like, he's like, oh shit, y'all from New Orleans? I'm like, yeah, we trying to get there. We don't know how else to get there. Um, he's like, you know what? Get the fuck in this truck, cause y'all don't need to be out here. Just a random dude, bro. I swear, I don't even remember the truck. It was four of us, so we was like, at first we was like, yo, it's four of us. You know, if you try something crazy, maybe get one of us. But the other three yeah, he was gonna get it. So we wasn't kind of worried about that. But the fact that he was kind of just talking us cool, we kind of had that little talk, but it was short. Um, but he was like, "Yo, get the fuck in his truck." So we got in the truck. We all got in the back of the truck. Two of us got in the cab part, and two of us got in the thing. He was like, "I'll bring y'all there," and he's like, "I can't wait for y'all because I don't know what was going on, but I'll bring y'all there, and y'all just find y'all way home." So we like, "Fuck, cool, that's cool with us." So we just randomly got in the back of this dude's truck, and from there he drove us to the Astrodome. Right, so we get to the Astrodome, and now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, no wonder that everybody was like not tripping, but the cops was like, "Who the fuck are y'all?" Because I didn't realize how late it was at times. I'm just trying to get where I'm trying to get, but it was probably like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning when we get there. No, it was probably like 12:15. Excuse me. When we get to the Astrodome, and then I'm trying to think, man, was it the Astrodome? Because I remember we walked to the convention center looking for people too. But I don't remember. I don't remember. But we went to the Astrodome. We couldn't find nobody, right? So like, this was so crazy. I can't even think of a movie to describe this, right? So you go. Let's say you go into like a stadium. Think of fucking. It's a crazy visual. Think of just walking to a stadium and walking to the entrance part and then looking up, and the whole field is covered with people, and all the stands is covered with people, but it's not the whole field. Let's just say it's like half of it, like a big, like 60% of it. That's what we saw. It was just people. It was just cots, people with blankets. It was cops everywhere. And it was just pure fucking chaos. Like, we didn't find no family. We saw just some random people we knew from the block, or like some people I knew because I didn't go to the same school with all my friends. I went to another school. So it was just some people I knew. Um, but we couldn't find no family members. But that's a whole other thing because we had family members. I had a auntie in New Jersey, an auntie in San Diego. Like, they were shipping us kind of all over the place. Nobody kind of knew where it was until they was there. That's another crazy, crazy thing. But we got there, we couldn't find nobody, and damn, what do we do after that? We couldn't sleep there. We wasn't gonna sleep there because everybody there was wilding in there. I'm telling you. So you have every neighborhood in New Orleans all mixed into a stadium. Like, so everybody who's ever had a problem with each other, not even talking about the good people, know each other or whatever, people who've been beefing. In New Orleans, usually people that beef with each other like that, it kind of be a little far away. Like, it used to be, I ain't been there in a while, so I don't know how the climate is really. I know they ain't building shit. But it used to be like an uptown downtown thing. But there's some space between people, right? You're not beefing with the next block. But just imagine all those people in the same building. Now you got the criminals, you got good people, but you got criminals. You got bad people in that motherfucker. So it was just absolute chaos. And I remember talking to my cousin. We had got a, I think we got a maybe a visitor's permit, but they told us we couldn't stay there anyway, and we left. And then that's when it got confirmed with us. I asked the police on the way out. I was like, "Hey, like when the buses run?" He's like, "Buses don't run." So we was gonna walk from downtown Houston all the way back, and he asked us how we got here. He's like, "Hey, man, maybe y'all go to the convention center. Maybe they'll take y'all in there." So we walked to the convention center, and they had empty beds in there um, that they were saving for. It was another city that got evacuated. I forget what city that was. It could have been like Beaumont, Texas, and Orange, Texas. And the lady was like, "Hey, Beaumont and all them people, they'll be here in the morning." She's like, "Y'all, feel free to sleep here." So we like slept there in the convention center on a cot in a sheet. We ate some grits in the morning, and we took the bus home. That's a long story, but it goes to show you that a city with 6 million people that don't have 24-hour buses, and you got people that's the if you ask the average Texan, they work commute is an hour because people just people they stay so all the just like anywhere else, the high prices in downtown, but nothing really goes on downtown. Like downtown is not it's a kind of a young people's place, but it's not a growing area. Like there's better neighborhoods, better actual structured neighborhoods that people would rather live in. I understand that, like in Cypress or Woodlands or Humble or wherever you are. But those places are like 40 minutes out. You add in traffic, like I said, 6 million people. Hour and a half is how most people drive, and so um, I'm sure if the buses were uh more competent, people would actually want to do it. But I mean, how can you cover everything in such a gigantic place? It's pretty crazy. But going back, I forgot what I was talking about. I was talking about fucking turning signals, intimidation, driving. All right, well, let's get back to it. So blinkers, intimidating people, and another thing about like city structures. How can we get two more things? How can we get the tickets for people that's texting and driving? Like, how can we just eliminate this, right? Because between this and I gotta be a little, it's gonna be a little ageism here. If you over 70, like you should be having like cognitive, I don't know what the word is. You should be having like every 6 months driving tests after like 60. You should have a driving test every like because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Like the the recklessness on the road, I already know if somebody's in front of me or behind me, to the left or right of me, I can guess what the person is doing and who they are by how crazy they're driving or how erratic they're driving, how slow they're driving. If they're swerving side to side, if they're swerving, I'm like, oh, this person's on the phone. Let me get as far away from them if I possibly can. I get all the way over, cruise over, you take a peek over, they on their fucking phone. It's just I'm not with the police shit and the pulling people up for no reason. But if you're texting and driving, a light little taser, little cow prod just to wake your stupid ass up and send you back on your way home. But I just have that's the really uh bad drivers sends a shock of anger through my body uh that not many other things to get because if you looked at how many people died from car accidents, it's pretty crazy. It's really, really crazy. And if you look at like you add in drunk driving and like it's Texas, so strict driving, strict alcohol laws, but motherfuckers can be drunk any type of the day. To be real honest with you, like drunk driving, you get hit by drunk driver at 8 a.m., 12 p.m. Like it's pretty crazy. Like if you look at the drunk driving accidents and deaths in Texas in comparison to other states. And it's not even close. Like the number is pretty crazy. So that's why I also am a little bit more skittish when it comes to just bad driving, and also we're driving 3,000 pound vehicles. 3,000, 2 to 3,000, 4,000, really big cars. Uh, just imagine something that's 3,000 pounds that travels 60, 70, 80, 90 miles per hour. Um, that's a lot of impact. That's a lot of contact. So yeah, that's big pet peeve, big pet peeve, big pet peeve. The second topic I wanted to get into was playoff basketball, right? Big swerve. I'm a bad driver. I just hit a U-turn. You know when you taking a U-turn so wide, you got your hand on the wheel, like you pulling something around off your back, like you dragging a fucking a sled. That's the type of U-turn I'm doing now. I want to talk about the playoffs, right? And we got the final four teams, and there's a lot of ups and downs about the playoffs, right? There's some people who thinks that basketball is just so superstar driven that it is bad to not have LeBron James again in the final four of teams for the maybe like 13th time out of 16 years. Like people think that's a bad thing to have the person that has represented um the final four teams has been a representative in the final four teams for maybe for like this is like year 18. The last he went like 10 years straight. He's had to been in the final four at least 13 or 14 times in the last damn at least 13, right? At least 10, 11. Fuck, it's a lot, nigga, a lot. Um, to have that person eliminated and have four teams that have, I don't think they've ever won a champ. Well, the Bucks have won a championship, but it's been a really long time. Um, the Suns have never won. The Clippers have never won, and the Hawks have never won. The Bucks have championships with Kareem. I think he was Lou Alcindor then. I think yeah, they have championships with Kareem. I think Kareem got like maybe 3 championships with Milwaukee before he went to the Lakers. Maybe 2. I know he got MVPs there, right? So, but it's been I have to say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So I mean, like 1969 or some shit like that. So it's been a long time. 1974 probably since the last time they won a championship. So it's been a long time. It's been like 50 years. Um, how is that not seen as a good thing, right? The Hawks, who have had a bad sports like their sports history is terrible. So for like the city of Atlanta will be a great thing. I think it'd be absolutely terrible for me, for anybody in Atlanta to be celebrating anything um, besides the removal of an STD. I don't like that. So the Hawks getting in, and then the Hawks getting one really with no notice. Like at the it's not even like the Warriors, because the Warriors were leading up and just took a gigantic leap. Like they would lead up to okay, this is a competing team to oh shit, they just won a championship. Like if you remember the 3 years before the actual championship, there's there's nobody that would have thought the Warriors to win a championship. Hold up, let me see if I can actually find um Warriors championship uh odds in 2015. Let's see. Was it 14, 15, or was it 15, 16? Let's see. Okay, so Philly was 501. Sweet. But Jesus. Let's see if I can find Golden State. We're not going through every fucking thing. The Pelicans were 100 to 1. Uh, which sounds crazy as hell. Let's see. Knicks, Raptors, Wizards, Mavs. The Warriors were 20 to 1. Yeah, this is when they were 20 to 1 to win. OKC, the Bulls, Spurs, Cavs. Okay. All right, yeah. So this is the button. It was 20 to 1, right? So what is 20 to 1 in? That's like 2,000 to 1, or plus 2,000 basically. I think that's equals to plus 2,000. So my point is the Hawks would be an even bigger jump than the Warriors winning their first one, because first of all they were trash at the beginning of the season. Uh, for the last couple years they've been trash, and if and really being in the same conference with LeBron means that you're never winning. So even when they had the most wins in 2013, 14, at 64 wins, I remember one year. Um, Nobody ever thought they were actually going to beat LeBron, right? So the jump they would have made, especially how they started the season with a brand new coach, the brand new coach. You have a totally different coach. Um, you have obviously a good coach. The Nate McMillan. Oh my God, Nate McMillan just going to the fucking Hawks. NBA teams, uh, are y'all stupid, right? Any team that needed a coach. If you look at the Indiana Pacers, like the last 4 years, no good rosters. I wouldn't say no good rosters. Good to decent rosters. Third seeds, number 4 seeds, 5 seeds. Not 5 seeds. They were 3 and 4 seeds. With players that's not even on the fucking team no more. Sabonis wasn't even there. So Sabonis was there, like the first one, but it's not like they had any superstars. They had no superstars on their team, just good players. And Nate McMillan took that to a 3 seed, to a 4 seed, and then they fired him after going to the bubble of all fucking things. You fire him after the bubble, something that don't even make sense. He didn't even have Sabonis, and they lose, and then you fire him, and then NBA teams that needed a fucking coach let him go be an assistant coach to the Hawks. How is he? How did he even get in a position to be a fucking assistant coach? How many teams need a coach? Sacramento look like they need a coach. Minnesota look like they need a coach. The New Orleans Pelicans look like they need a coach. They needed one last year. Geniuses. So for the Hawks to make that climb, I think it would be even bigger than the Raptors, because the Raptors with Kawhi was taken seriously, right? Trae Young is not seen like that because he's a very young player. He just came into the fucking league, obviously. But they have a really solid roster. Like their top 10 guys, like the 10, 12 guys they play are all like good NBA players. Like besides Solomon Hill, but get the check how he got. He got 50 million already, so it don't even matter if he good or not. They already paid him like he was. So uh, the Hawks winning will be to me gigantic. The Bucks winning will be gigantic. The Clippers winning, this is the worst team in sports history. Like I tweeted this a couple weeks ago, right? So some of y'all may not be young enough to remember what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers before, like, matter of fact, before they changed the color of their jerseys. When they changed the color of the jerseys, that's when they got good. If you look at all teams, it's not, I don't want to say all teams, but most teams, when they change the color of their jersey, somehow they become better, right? So Tampa Bay Buccaneers went from the worst. Oh, I'm telling you, they're going 0-16, 1-15, 2-14s, multiple. Bro, I gotta pull it up. They used to be terrible. Like 2-16s every year. Like Detroit Lions type bad. Let me see. Not Tampa Bay record in the 90s. We go to team history. I can see it right here. Let's go to 90. Let's go to the 80s. Still real bad in the 80s. In the middle of the 90s when they start getting good, and then the 2000 is just um. So let's go to 1983. Right, 2-4, 6-10, 2-14, 2-14, 4-11, 5-11, 5-11, 6-10, 3-13, 5-11, 5-11. Right, so I just went 10 years, and the most game they won was 6. So I'm on 1994. Bam, 6-10 again. 1995 they went 7-9. 1996 they went 6-10 again. So they went from 1996 back to 1982, if we want to go back. Then when they went 5-4. 1982 to 1995. They won 7 games. That's the most wins they ever had in a season. Right? And then in 96 and 97, they changed the colors. I assume they had to sell a team. But they just started getting better, right? They started drafting a hell of a lot better. So 97, 6-10. 10-6, 8-8, 11-5, 10-6, 9-7, and then they were 12-4. In 2002, they won the Super Bowl. So they were just these was all Dungy teams. Dungy got them better. Dungy is like he's I wouldn't compare to Mark Jackson. He's better. He's a better coach than Mark Jackson. But you can compare his arc to like what Mark Jackson was. But like I said, I think he's a better coach than Mark Jackson was. To where Mark Jackson, well, Dungy can take more credit for that team because it's offense and defense, and the jump that the Warriors made with a totally different offense. It's a similar arc. I don't want to paint it to be as exact because I want to give Dungy his respect, and I don't want to disrespect Mark Jackson. I want to put him in perspective too because he did bring the Warriors to their maybe in another 2 years, maybe the next year they would have took that anyway. But I think with the offense that Steve Kerr brought in, the D'Antoni spread it out offense, I think that was the difference for the Warriors. But either way, they were one of the worst teams ever. The Clippers are much, 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 much worse, right? The Clippers are absolutely, they're the worst team in franchise history. So you have the Phoenix Suns, right? You have the Phoenix Suns who's had about 5 or 6 years of real what's the word, relevancy since like 1990, right? You had the years with Barkley, which is like 90 to like 93 or 4, really. I think he could have got that in 89. But you got like 4 or 5 years. I say it's more than 5. I won't go all the way there. So you got 4 or 5 years there. You got the Nash years, which is mostly late 2000s when they were really pushing. But the Barkley is better because they went to the finals. They just ran through a fucking freight train from what named Michael Jordan, but them finally being in this position after being pretty fucking trash for a long time. Multiple first round, top 7 to 10 draft picks wasted. I remember there was a stretch when we could have gone over this in the last podcast, but there was a stretch when they drafted like 4 guards straight. Brandon Knight, all these cats was coming out. Their time they were just drafting guards. Trying to find Devin Booker, I guess. I guess after you draft 7 guards in 6 years or 7 guards in 5 years, and you land on Devin Booker, I guess you can have the fucking credit of being a great drafter. Like you get Ayton, who's solid, you get Booker, who's solid, who's very good, and then everybody else you drafted didn't fit the team. You fucked them up. You had bad coaching. You fired the coaches too quick. Yeah, and speaking of coaches, I would like for the Pelicans. This won't happen. I would like Jeff Hornacek If y'all remember Jeff Hornacek, he had some pretty good years with Phoenix before they kicked him out. I believe that was Phoenix. And he had a good year with the Knicks. He had a winning season with the Knicks before they kicked him out, and then I believe they brought in Derek Fisher in there, who is absolutely terrible. But what happened to Vinny Del Negro? His last year, I remember, he had 56 wins. What happened to all these coaches? Is it behind the scenes stuff we don't know about? I've heard a couple things about Mark Jackson. I don't know if it's true. It's all rumor about him being super religious, and maybe some of the words and some of the things he was saying are trying to judge, kind of threw people off a little bit. Maybe that's the same way with some of these coaches. But why was Nate McMillan that? Why was Thibodeau um out of the league for a little bit? He did his thing. He didn't do nothing with Minnesota, but I don't know if he just had the right personnel in Minnesota. Maybe Minnesota is that. Maybe they're a little bit too soft out there. Maybe they didn't have the right clientele. Maybe he just made the wrong fucking moves. They did trade Zach LaVine and Wiggins for Jimmy Butler, who was there like 1 year. They trade exactly for Wiggins, but it's kind of the same thing. It's kind of the same difference. They did trade LaVine, um, who's a 25 to 28 point scorer nightly. They have D'Angelo Russell. They have Karl Anthony Towns, who will probably um, be gone. But it's just so many teams that need coaching. I really need an answer on why we keep getting the same bad rotation of coaches. Like Jason Kidd is getting interviews to go places, even though he showed nothing. You can, I mean, I guess you could say, oh, he developed Giannis, but Giannis going from looking like he was 113 pounds to looking like Brock Lesnar. I don't know if that had anything to do with Jason Kidd in that aspect. So I'm not sure like how he keeps how he gets a spot. I know he got that spot on the Lakers. Maybe he got some leeway. Maybe because of agents or something like that. Maybe if you have a powerful agent in the NBA, that's just how it go. We already know that's kind of how it go with the players, but I assume it's the same. That it's the same way with the coaches. But I'm not claiming to be any type of fucking general manager. I'm not. I like basketball. I'm no fucking scout. I'm not watching Bosnian basketball to see who may be some top prospects. I'm not into it like that, but I definitely knew that Tom Thibodeau is a good coach, and he brings the same result out of pretty much every team he goes to. Compete, they play hard, they get to the playoffs. If he was when he was in Chicago, they would have won a championship. The roster in New York, go check that roster. It's really not that good. It's really got a lot of young players on it. It's just Julius Randle, Rose out there. He stepped up his game. He had some young cats stepping up their game, but it's not a real defined and refined roster's been playing together for 2, 3, 4 years. Most rosters only play together anyway like that, but for whatever reason, these people don't think continuity matters and habits matter and camaraderie matters. Um, I think they think you could just interswitch players, and a dude staying in Atlanta and now he got to stay in Milwaukee. I don't think they think that maybe that affects somebody. I know it's their job to stay professional and stay in shape and do all that, but all that shit kind of affects people. So I don't think the NBA is really looking at it like that. Maybe they're not looking at it like that. Maybe they don't care to look at it like that. That putting together a roster to play together for 2 or 3 or 4 years might make them all better. Like everybody can't just move around like LeBron. Not move around, meaning he's been to 1,000 teams, meaning he can fit any team and it would wrap around him. KD could fit, he could go anywhere and it would wrap around him. Obviously, not all players like that. Um, so for them to just be interchanging role players, look at Covington. Covington in Houston, I liked how he was playing. Covington in Minnesota, really liked how he's playing in Minnesota. Covington in Portland, what the fuck is Covington in Portland? Like, he could have just been trash this year, but there's a lot of things that go on, a lot of things that matters. And I don't think a lot of GMs or anything even like take that in consideration. Also, I want to talk about talking about me fucking watching Bosnian basketball. I assume we're going to get more European players into the league, right? So you have Jokic, you have Sabonis, it's not like it's 19 of these motherfuckers. It's not like it's 20 stars or 20 role players that's shining. But if you have guys that can move to superstardom fairly quick, like Lucas, he's pretty legendary already in like year 3 and year 4. Um, because of how well he played over there and him just not being afraid. He said this is easy when he came over, but him adjusting to this game. I assume in this draft coming up, we're gonna be seeing more European players because, quite honestly, I'd rather be taking more chances on them out there than the system in which we're bringing up. As far as college ball, American college ball, because if you can bring in grown adults already or people that have been living on their own as a grown adult, like obviously I don't know any of these cats' maturity. I don't know them, but being 18 and not being in your home country, 19 and not being in your home country and playing in a professional league is a lot different from being 18 on a college campus in Kentucky or Duke or wherever, the same people want to fucking play all the time. So I really wonder, uh would there be more chances taken on the cast that's playing in Spain, or I think that's the main league. Like I said, I don't know. I should start watching that shit. You can bet on the shit, but um will it be more chances taken on these cats? I'm not gonna say there'll be Luca or Jokic or Sabonis or whoever else is here that's really hooping like that. But to get a grown up that wants to play their role, right? It's not that these a lot of these players are bad players, but them adjusting to being good at their role, it just seems like they're maybe the NBA turnover has been really quick. Maybe it's always been the same way, which is how many players are going to the G League and up and down and out of league and China and all these places and so many places to play. Maybe it's always been like that as far as the '90s, but like the '90s and the early 2000s, it felt like it was more adults, grown men out there that were fine with their role and just took it on. Or I could have just been looking at a lot of old dudes that were vets at the time, and that's just what part of their career they was in. I mean, it could be the same fucking thing, but taking chances on people that have been already playing in a professional league that is second to ours. It's not like they playing where J. Cole was playing. It's not like they playing in fucking Rucker Park for 2 years. They're playing in the league in the world, most people talent wise would be considered number two. Um, so maybe we see more chances this year. Maybe that's what the draft brings us. Um, I think common sense would say, well, with COVID, it probably was fucking really difficult to scout out there the last year and a half. Damn near impossible to scout out there the last year and a half. Um, they didn't have basketball like us either. So maybe this is not the year for it. Maybe it's another 2 or 3 years. Um, I don't know how quickly I forgot. The entire world was affected by COVID. So, maybe it's not this year, maybe it's the next couple of years, but I'm sure they've been looking and recruiting guys and looking at these players and um, bringing some of these cats over, man. We've had a lot of good. Look at the Spurs. We've had a lot of good European players that have come over and been just fantastic role players and just fantastic players in general. Guys that come in, hit the three, come in and play defense, and are just willing to take it serious. Um, and I'm not saying, like I said, this is not a maturity thing. It's probably a maturity thing. Like I said, you're bringing in somebody who's grown, who's been living on their own and been doing all this stuff. So um, hopefully we see more of that. Um, next time I talk to y'all, I'll start watching some European basketball. Maybe, probably not. Maybe I don't know. Probably not. Uh, if I could bet on it, I'll check it out. So, uh, Let me know what y'all think. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on the YouTubes. YouTube.com climb um slash water sign. On my YouTube, it's be a lot of gaming videos. Very similar to the podcast, but I kind of want to try something a little bit different with YouTube. Maybe some nice 5 or 10 minute, 5 or 7 to 10 minute videos, maybe 3 to 5. Just because how the YouTube algorithm works. Now most people 3 minutes is usually 3 to 7 is usually a good enough time for a lot of people, just depending upon the game, of course. But maybe I can get to a lot of more, mini topics like that with the YouTube, so we can have more discussion about it. Long discussions over 45 minutes or hour, 2 hour, um, 4 hour fucking discussions is a little bit harder to for everybody to keep up with. But a YouTube video with some comments, people chopping it up about it. I think it's a better way to be a lot more interactive with everybody besides obvious social media, Twitter, etc. So I appreciate y'all for listening, and I'll holler.